It's the current year. Big news, I know. And in the current year, there's a lot of debate going on as to how many genders there are. I say debate, I really mean incessant whining and flagrant use of buzzwords. So what do you do when you keep losing the argument over and over again? Go on the channel HiHo Kids and argue the same thing, but with children. Of course. That should be easier.
What makes a boy a boy?
An X and a Y chromosome.
Oh, schooled by a kid. That had to sting.
Oh, so like, is there anything to name, like on the outside of somebody?
Like,
genitalia.
Oh, schooled again. I think I might just end the video there. Enough said, right?
what?
Yeah, that's on the outside, I'm just saying.
I don't know where we're going. Like,
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, laugh it off, princess. I mean, you're a grown-ass adult who's just been given a mental beatdown by two school kids in 2 sentences in a subject of which you probably think yourself to be quite the expert, but laugh it off.
I'm Michaela.
Michaela, nice to meet you. I'm Nanta.
Nanta? As in the South Korean non-verbal comedy show? I think something must have been lost in translation there, because instead of non-verbal, you're non-binary, and instead of being a comedy show, you're just a joke.
Nice to meet you.
And I'm Sander.
Sander.
Sandor? As in Sandor Clegane? As in the Hound from Game of Thrones? Damn! No, I don't see you winning this one at all, Nanta.
I'm Nanta.
Nice to meet you.
Do either one of you or both of you know why you're here today?
I'm guessing they're being punished for something. I can't think what, though. They've been wonderfully polite so far, but why else would they have to talk about gender with someone who looks like an anime character?
I think it has something to do like gender non-binary.
He's a sharp lad, isn't he? Nanta's probably really proud of that, like, oh, he recognised my gender from my appearance. But in actual fact, it's just because you look like the kind of person who makes a big deal out of everything.
Or non-conforming.
Yeah, both. Yeah, so gender non-conforming and non-binary.
Well, which one is it? Pick one! You can't say you're gender non-conforming and also say you're a magical third gender. Pick one!
Do either of you know what that means?
I think, at least as far as I know, it's like that you don't necessarily fit into a single gender.
Isn't it sad that this kid knows this? When the answer's anything other than then it really shows the dangerous direction these gender warriors are taking the new generation. If you'd have asked me that when I was his age, my best guess would have been, it's one of those new Pokemon?
Do you feel like neither gender or both genders or some of each?
Uh-oh, Sandor Clegane here just subtly suggested there are only 2 genders. As I said, sharp lad.
So I still identify as being cis female. Do you know that term?
No.
Well, Sandor, a while ago, we had goths. Then after that, we had emos. Now the current trend is non-binary. It'll all fizzle out eventually, and then the next generation will create its own rebellion, though it's gonna be hard to top non-binary in terms of ridiculousness. I thought goth was way up there, but life surprises us all. I mean, I used to drink in a heavy metal pub years ago, and it was stuffed full of people in long black coats and heavy mascara. That was the look. But when the fights kicked off, oh man, they used to bare their teeth at each other and hiss like vampires. Or cats, your choice. But it's hard to act all tough when a young drunken uncle's laughing his ass off the next table over. Good times, good times.
I am okay by being called she, her.
Well then, how are you non-binary if you aren't constantly reeing? I mean, if gender is in your head, then non-binary is a state of mind, right? And that state of mind requires you to have problems with absolutely everything in order to convince yourself you're somehow oppressed. You're not doing it right, Nanta.
But on most days or some days,
Again, which one is it? Most or some? That's the problem with these non-binary types, isn't it? They can never pick just one thing.
I express, through my style,
I think we're yet to see any actual style, Nanta.
through my clothing, what society would say more is boy-like.
So, gender's your choice of clothing? We're settling on that one, are we? Clothes? We've had a crazy journey, haven't we? Gender's a social construct, gender's how you feel in your head, gender is clothes. What an evolution! It does raise the question, what's your gender when you're naked? But in your case, I'm guessing your gender would be disgusting.
I have a question. So if you could, have a gender like name your own gender in between boy or girl, what would that name be?
That's a really nice question from such a young mind, isn't it? Because all this time it's just been, oh, I'm not a boy and I'm not a girl, which is weird because for people who do nothing but think about their own gender all the live long day, they can never explain it without naming the two actual genders. Almost like anything in between simply doesn't exist.
Wow, no one's ever really asked me that question. I think I would maybe go with ma'am, sir.
Yeah, you've been making things up all this time. Why stop there? Go nuts! It's still a combination of titles from the two actual genders though, so maybe, subconsciously, your mind is screaming, Nanta! You know this is crap! You couldn't even come up with a new word! You know this is crap!
Because it's a combination of ma'am and sir.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, she gets it. At this point, I think they're just humouring Nanta. In the same way you tell a little kid his drawing is really good, but as soon as he leaves the room, you laugh at him for being so wildly untalented.
When did you realize you were gender non-conforming?
I feel like my identity is like an ever-evolving thing.
So, around about the time you read it on Tumblr then, none of this existed before that website, did it? It's like the Amazon of gender. Just have a browse and pick out something you like. And hey, if they don't have it in stock, come back in a few days when they're sure to have created some more.
I think I really was more comfortable and accepting of who I was, not until I was like in my 20s.
It's alright, Nanta. We all do dumb shit when we're young. You'll grow out of it and will eventually learn to cringe at your past behaviour like the rest of us.
Did you always know you were a boy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom! Sandor does it again! This is why he's the hound, people! You can't beat him!
Sometimes I've thought about, like, what if I were a girl?
I know, it's kind of weird. It's like, woo.
It is like woo, isn't it? To think I will never have any idea of what it's like to be a woman, just the same as a woman can never have any idea of what it's like to be a man. But Nanta here has surpassed the boundaries of biology and can actually pinpoint the moment she feels like a man, despite having never experienced it. What a time to be alive, eh? That's what trans means now. Did you know? It's not short for transsexual or transgender. It means transcendence.
Did you always know that you were a girl?
Yeah.
Oh, Michaela comes in with a right hook of her own. You can't stop these kids. It's just wave after wave of pure carnage. I haven't seen such widespread destruction since Thanos snapped his fingers.
I mean, like, yeah. I don't know. I just kind of like was raised a girl.
What is it like being raised as a girl?
Yeah, Nanta doesn't know since she was clearly raised by a pack of gender-fluid tree people.
Well, I mean, so, you play more with dolls, but boys, it'd be like balls and...
Actually, girls like playing with balls too. You'll understand when you're older.
My theory as to, well, if a parent offers the option with no bias, hey, you can play with this doll or you can play with this ball.
Oh, I see where this is going, and I will say it again. This is one sharp lad.
And the boy chooses the ball. My theory is because early humans, like the men, as far as I'm concerned, hunted.
Oh, look at her face! Look at it! She hates him! She's thinking, this stupid kid and his facts and logic. I'd beat him up if I weren't 100% sure he could take me.
And so sort of like genetically, men preferred things that moved around. I know, that's like completely a theory in terms of...
Well, that's a strong theory, Sandor, and one that is backed up by science. For instance, baby boys tend to find interest in more mechanical objects, whereas baby girls generally gravitate towards things with faces. And these are babies. So you can't say, but that's what society tells them to do. They're brand new.
I mean, is there a reason why the men were the ones hunting?
Probably because they were stronger.
Oh, it's a massacre! Someone throw in the towel, get the referee in here, she's getting pummeled!
And I think that's where I kind of like, oh, really? Well, I'm strong, why can't I be a hunter too?
Because I don't think early humans really had much time for the concept of gender being a mental state, Nanta, and I'm sure if they knew their bloodline would end in a mullet on YouTube getting absolutely owned by two prepubescent children, they would have given up there and then.
Well, yeah, but like, in terms of like muscle mass, men have like, and I mean, they probably weren't thinking about that.
He's right, they were generally more concerned with surviving, but you take your victories where you can, Nanta.
I think even back then, humans held gender stereotypes to what men and women should be doing.
Oh yeah, why didn't they mix it up a bit so the women had the role of hunter and protector and the men got pregnant? It had nothing to do with biology. No, it was all patriarchy.
Do you think now there are more people who are gender non-binary?
Well, there are lots of people who say they are, that's for sure, but as for being gender non-binary, there are about as many of them as there are fire-breathing dragons.
I think now people are feeling more comfortable and safe to say that they are gender non-conforming or non-binary.
I think it's a sign of how good we have it, Nanta. When your biggest issue is what clothes you're going to wear to portray whatever gender you feel you are today, the standard of living must be pretty high. You don't see any of those starving Ethiopian children wrestling with these things, do you? No, because they're starving.
But I also truly believe that
Oh great, another belief. You know what belief means, Nanta? An acceptance that something exists or is true, especially one without proof. So the moment you say belief, and it doesn't even matter what comes next, I already know it's gonna be bollocks.
even since way back when, you know, when our ancestors were alive, that there were also gender non-conforming, non-binary people.
Wow, I called that, didn't I? Let's just take a moment to think about what she said. Gender is a social construct, right? Yet somehow, there were gender non-conforming people before society as a whole even existed. Now isn't that something?
Do you all think gender is a big deal?
No.
Oh, these kids, man, these kids rock.
Well, it's not a big deal, meaning like if someone was identified as neither boy nor girl, it's not a big deal to me if they were in between, but like...
Not to everyone else, no, but it is to them. And for something that's supposed to be about yourself and yourself alone, holy hell do they make it about other people.
Gender is a big part of who you are, right? And I guess it is a gender, sort of, if you're gender non-conforming. I know that sounds kind of like... Yeah, you know?
Aw, she's being really nice, isn't she? Trying so hard not to offend the poor disabled woman in front of her. These kids give me great hope for the future. I mean, she's making a massive effort to agree with something that not one person in this room understands. And that's not because they're kids, either. It's because the subject in question is so nebulous that trying to argue in favor of it is like throwing your shoe at the clouds. You can do it all you want, but the only thing you'll achieve is looking like an idiot. Thanks for watching, guys. Please consider becoming a patron because I threw all my shoes. And check me out on BitChute, which is like YouTube, but doesn't punish the people who basically make the website. The links are in the description. And remember, the third gender is delusion.